Joining me now to discuss some of the potential pitfalls of the Voice is LNP Member of Parliament for Flynn, Colin Boyce. Colin, wonderful to talk to you. Thanks for joining me. It's clear the Voice has the real potential to divide and segment this country forever. What's your take of what was presented through the Parliament recently?
Oh, look, you're absolutely right, Cory. And what we've heard, a lot of this rhetoric is literally been made up on the run. The Voice is a separation of who we are as Australians. And the first thing I'd like to say that all of these people who advocate for the yes side of the argument, first and foremost, they are Australians, just like the rest of us. And what they're proposing is to divide us into two separate entities, those who are First Nations people and who should have a voice to Parliament, to executive government, and the rest of us, basically. So this will divide us as a nation. And it is, if it's enshrined in our Constitution, if you want to ever undo it one day, you will then have to seek permission, seek the tick from what is the Aboriginal voice.
Colin, what gets me about this is the government seems intent on pushing this through a constitutional process when it's entirely unnecessary. South Australia already has a voice to Parliament. It didn't go into the Constitution. Why do you think the government is so intent on going down this expensive, divisive path? What ulterior motive could they have?
Well, this is all about recognising Aboriginals' sovereignty. That's it. There's no other question for it. It's about understanding that Aboriginal Australians, Aboriginal First Nations people are different to us, the rest of us, as Australians. So if this is indeed enshrined in the Constitution, if the Australian people choose to vote yes, our system of government will be changed. Because what will happen is these people, the Voice, they will make representation to executive government. They will have the right through the courts to challenge any and every piece of legislation that is put forward by any government. So to put that into context, the education system, the health system, nuclear submarines, the budget that will be handed down, all of these issues will then be under constant scrutiny from a small minority group of people within Australia who will be First Nations people. It is a dangerous piece of legislation, a dangerous precedent to put forward and enshrine in our Constitution. This is something that we can do without putting it in the Constitution. We can legislate, we can make laws surrounding these sorts of things, and there are literally hundreds and hundreds of Aboriginal representative bodies that already contribute to our society.
Yeah, one of the things, Colin, is in what you say is I can just see the mechanics of governance really being bogged down. I mean, Cabinet's got to create something, firstly, a proposal, then does it go off to the Voice, the Legislated Voice Committee for their tick of approval? They could take months to do it if necessary. Then it goes back to the Parliament. Is that how it's proposed to work, or doesn't anyone really know?
Well, nobody really knows, and this is why we need to have the process of how this system is going to work be explained to the Australian people. Now, I know today in the newspapers that the government is going to enlist the aid and the help of some very well-known and highly respected Aboriginal sportsmen and women. And hopefully they will be across the issues of constitutional change and how this will affect decisions made in the High Court, because if they can't explain it to us, the government certainly won't explain it to us. Who can explain it to us? We as a coalition government have asked some very simple questions on how the mechanics of this thing will work, and nobody will explain it to us.
You know, I salute the coalition for coming up and campaigning, and the opposition leader in particular for saying he's going to campaign against the Voice. But you've come under a lot of criticism for this, sometimes within your own party, but most notably by a former Prime Minister, a Liberal Prime Minister, Malcolm Turnbull. But when he was PM, He claimed a voice to the parliament was contrary to the principles of equality and citizenship, and now he's changed his tune. Is Malcolm still in a political muddle, or is the Liberal Party maintaining the original version or intent of what they saw was the problems right from those years ago?
Oh, look, Mr Turnbull, with the greatest respect to him, former Prime Minister, he's entitled to his own opinion, but he is not responsible to the Liberal Party that he once served. He is certainly not responsible to Shadow Cabinet. So I would discount his opinion, and, that's the way I feel about it. He is largely irrelevant these days in terms of the politics of it.
Colin, boys, I couldn't have said that better myself. I find his opinion irrelevant too, but in this case, he's now contradicting himself in a couple of years. All right, I really appreciate you giving up your Sunday evening, Colin. Happy Easter to you, and thanks very much for joining me on